Welcome back everyone to Osiris Royal Tech. I am your host Osiris, and today's video is a very interesting one and one that needs to be addressed and I haven't seen addressed on YouTube. And that is the difference between a data analyst, a data scientist, and a data engineer, but how basically the job market is lumping all of these together and making it very difficult for individuals to go ahead and find the right role for themselves in particular without falling into a pit hole and essentially making it to where they're not cut out for the role, because the job market has confused all three of these roles and what you could do about it. So yes, that is a mouthful, but this is something that we absolutely need to cover. So with that being said, we're gonna dive straight in. All right, so I have pulled up a few examples of what each role does in particular. Just that way I don't forget, I wanted to have it pulled up for you guys, all right? Because this is a conversation that needs to be had and some clarity behind it and a path moving forward for you guys. So overall with data analysts, I did that for quite some time. And the core focus behind that is extracting insights from existing structured data, creating reports, dashboards, visualizations, answering specific business questions, and the typical tools used are like SQL, Excel, Tableau, Power BI, Python sometimes, and R, okay? And from what I've encountered in data analytics from multiple sectors is there isn't so much of a heavy use on Python or R. SQL is a hit and miss. It all depends on your role and your company that you're at and what their needs are. The skills for data analytics are strong in query, cleaning, and visualizing data, and descriptive statistics, business acumen, and communication. So if you're a person that's able to communicate very well and articulately, then this role would be a no-brainer for you, as long as you're good or become good at those things that I mentioned in terms of skill sets. Nowadays, I see the market starting to shift from Power BI to Tableau for some odd reason. I don't understand it. Like, it does not make, from everything that I see and have gathered over the years, just my perspective in it all, it does not make logical business sense for the small to medium-sized company to even touch Tableau. And the reason why is because it's, from the last time I checked, it was more expensive than Power BI. And also they could just use Excel if they're really struggling for funds that bad and can't afford a quality software system for visualizations and creating like dashboards and all the rest of that stuff, neat dashboards. So that's what I see. So don't skip out on your SQL. And I'm not saying to remember everything. Don't do that. Absolutely never remember any type of coding. You will absolutely hate yourself 10 years down the run, or even 5 years down the run, when you end up forgetting all of that syntax because you haven't coded in about like 2 months. Don't do it. Understand the structure of what you're trying to do. Don't try to memorize the code, all right? But yes, SQL, Excel, obviously. Honestly, something that wasn't in here as well was PowerPoint. I find PowerPoint a very valuable source when it comes down to data analytics. And honestly, this might need to be like a 2-part series because I'm already going on freaking 4 minutes now. So let's get back into it. So yeah, let's focus on that. SQL, Excel, PowerPoint, Tableau, Power BI. Choose one or the other. And I would say understand how to just analyze data overall. Okay. And let's move on to the next one, okay, which is data scientist. Now, this role sometimes, once again, gets blurred into data analytics and data engineering, unfortunately, just because a lot of individuals don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about when they're hiring, unfortunately. So they're asking for a giant unicorn of all these different things, not knowing that these different professions are very specific, and some might overlap in some aspects, but overall, a data analyst, a data scientist, and a data engineer are going to have very specific spots to where their specialty lies. Sure, they might be a generalist, but they're never going to be great at one particular thing. So there's that. But a data scientist, the core focus it mentions is building predictive and prescriptive models, apply machine learning and statistical methods, experimentation and casual like inferences and everything. Let's see, the typical tools that are used are such as like Python, R, Jupyter, obviously. I might butcher some of these. Scikit-learn, TensorFlow, PyTorch, SQL, Spark, Cloud Platform, which is like AWS, GCP, Azure, things of that nature. The skills, you gotta have strong programming skills and math/stats background. Just heads up on this, unless you plan on working for somewhere that's highly focused in engineering, the math and statistics is always a thing in data, so you got to know that. But in terms of the math part, you don't need like heavy math. Like nowadays, when the computer could do everything for you and do it accurately, you don't need to be too advanced in your mathematics. I would say as long as you know at least trig, if you know Calc 1, even better, but just so that way you could verify. But other than that, nowadays computers have gotten so advanced. These libraries are amazing, so let's see here. And another skill for them is machine learning and deep learning, data wrangling and model deployment, example tasks such as like, can we predict customer churn, building an NLP model to classify support tickets, things of that nature. And I've also done data science work for quite some time. I've done a lot of freelance data scientist work. So one piece of advice that I would say there is know your either Python or R. Know Jupyter, understand like how it works and everything. Scikit-learn, pretty important. TensorFlow, PyTorch, it all depends on your preference there, but at least know one of those. Absolutely no SQL. Once again, don't try to remember the syntax, considering you could just Google it. As long as you know what it does, you are perfectly fine. And also understand a type of cloud platform as well. So that's just, and understand like the different type of machine learning, like models and everything else like that. Understand what they do. Considering what I've learned is the code is pretty much always the same in terms of like the basic structure of every machine learning model code is the same. Don't get it wrong, you'll enter in different metrics, but the bones of the code stay the same. So there's that. Let's see here. And then the next one is a data engineer. Okay. Now the core focus behind that is designing, building, and maintaining data infrastructures. Ensure data pipelines are scalable and reliable. Supporting analysts and scientists with data access. The typical tools include SQL, Python, Scala, Java, Spark, Kafka, and Airflow. And then there's also different cloud platforms that are beneficial in knowing, such as BigQuery, Redshift, Snowflake. Snowflake is a big one that I see left and right out there. So highly recommend to focus on Snowflake, but the option is yours. The skills, ETL, ELT, extract, transform, load. So it's ETL/ELT development, data architecture and warehousing, system design and automation. Example tasks are like building a real-time pipeline to stream web analytics data. Another example is optimizing data lakes and warehouses. So those are just some examples of what you would be doing as a data engineer. Okay. Let's see here. And also we're gonna go ahead and cover like why the job market gets these mixed up. All right, so I have all of it written down. And I'm gonna go ahead and read it off to you guys. Because once again, this is something that I haven't seen on YouTube being spoken about in depth, like how we're doing right now. All right, let's get into it. All right, the reasons companies don't understand the roles, especially in non-tech industries. I can't stress this enough, and you guys see it, I see it. It's an unfortunate thing. And honestly, that's not gonna clear up anytime in the near future. Hiring managers want unicorns, as we just spoke on. Considering they don't understand the difference, they're expecting this unicorn to know data engineering work, data scientist work, data analyst work. And once again, all of these are like specialized groups within the data umbrella. So it's just silly. It's just silly. There needs to be a conference held or something of that nature where like a governed like data group, kind of like OWASP almost, but just for data. That'd be nice. That'd be real nice. So that way it could clarify all of these different roles, what they are to organizations, so that way they don't expect a unicorn and just make it difficult on you. All right. And job titles are used inconsistently, obviously. Startups combine roles due to budget and headcount limitations. Shame on them. AI buzz. Everyone wants a data scientist, even when what they need is an analyst or engineer. Once again, guys, shame. So overall, what we can do about it, all right? So open up your ears. Okay, so if you are overall, if you're job seeking or if you're doing freelance work or whatever the case may be, listen in. Look beyond the title, okay? So read the job description and tech stack carefully. That's an obvious. Ask the right questions during interviews, such as who are the stakeholders? What kind of data problems will I solve? How mature is the data infrastructure? That last one is key. Yeah. I'll read that one more time. The last question to go ahead and to ask during your interview is how mature is the data infrastructure? That right there will go ahead and tell you everything that you'll need to know, because they're going to start leaking out stuff to you as to how mature it is. Do things need to be built, and so on and so forth? Because if they do say that, that's how you know they're looking more so for a data engineer, not necessarily for a data analyst or data scientist like us. So there's that. Also, clarify expectations. Ask what percentage of time is being spent on analysis versus engineering versus modeling. Tailor your resume for specific roles you want using keywords from that discipline. That's a big one. But sometimes that's even overlooked by interviewers, especially if they're panicking to get someone in the role. So keep that in mind. Upskill wisely. Learn overlapping skills. SQL, Python, but focus on your career goals. That's a big one. Okay, so if you're an employer or hiring manager and watching this, here's an important piece of information as well. Educate stakeholders on the difference between the roles. That's how you could go ahead and make the role work for you rather than break the role that you created, wasting time, energy, stakeholder influence, confidence in your ability to execute. The list goes on a business side of things. Write accurate job descriptions. Hire in stages. Get analysts first, okay, then engineers / scientists as data maturity grows. Obviously, as data people, we know that that's a given, but for those that are not, just food for thought. Invest in the team structure. Create distinct career paths for each role. This is a big one, and this is the reason why people leave so often, is because there's nowhere for these people to go. It's a very unfortunate when individuals get into a role, and I don't care who they are, they're expecting at least, at bare minimum, a pay raise. Okay, even if the job title doesn't change, they're expecting a pay raise. That's just the name of the game. And obviously, if the person has been there for years and they're not receiving that job pay increase, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, so with that being said, that summarizes this video, considering we're on 17 minutes now. So hopefully you guys have stayed with us till the end, because this is a very important topic. This is something that needed to be discussed, hasn't been discussed, at least from what I found in any of the videos on YouTube for the data community. So with that being said, take care, everyone.